Hi, this is Rep TV, and I'm your host, Shawn Whitsell, here with Victoria Stewart, who is the 2008-2009 Martha R. Ingram Artist-In-Residence. Welcome, Tori.
Yeah, great to be here.
Great to have you. So why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. I'm a playwright and an emerging playwright. And I originally started in theater as a stage manager. I actually worked for the American Repertory Theatre in Cambridge, Massachusetts for 7 years. And slowly realized I really want to be a playwright. So then committed myself to being a playwright for really the last 10 years of my life. And I live in Minneapolis, and I'm part of a writers collective there.
Yeah, tell me what's like a highlight of your experience so far.
Actually, seeing your show was so far it was a highlight. Let's see. No, I mean, I think it's just been great. I think maybe because of my background, where I spent years as a staff member at a regional theater, it's been really great coming in and getting to know all the different people in all the different departments of a theater. So that's been wonderful. Just getting to know Tennessee in general, and getting to know Nashville, and getting to stay in this lovely little house that Martha Ingram has been really delightful. It's been nice doing a little bit more teaching than I'm used to, but that's been great to kind of get to know. I had a great experience at Middle Tennessee State University, where I got to hang out with some students there, and it was their first day of classes, and they were really excited about playwriting and writing. So so there have been a lot of highlights.
Okay, so you shared with us some of your background. How about telling us about some of the awards you've won?
Sure. One of the first big awards I got was the Jerome Fellowship, which is a fellowship through the Playwright Center in Minneapolis, and actually it's what brought me to Minneapolis. I also got the Helen Merrill Award for Emerging Playwrights, and that's Helen Merrill was this famous agent who died in her 80s about 10 years ago, and she left a certain amount of her money to go to emerging writers because she really believed very strongly in emerging writers.
Tell us about the play you're working on here at the Rep.
Yeah, the play that I'm working on here is called A Smart Girl's Guide to Risk and Returns, and I've changed the title several times, and it's a brand new play. It's very much in process. And we had a reading of it in January at the end of the first part of my residency here. And then we had a second draft reading a couple of days ago in April. And then we'll have a final reading in June. And it's about women and their relationship to money. It's definitely timely with the economy the way it is. It's a little bit about kind of post-feminism and the things that we expect from our relationships, and also both our family relationships and our romantic relationships, and about whether money doesn't matter in this day and age when it comes to a romantic relationship, whether you can actually just ignore it, or whether it's really ever present.
And what gave you the inspiration? Where did that idea come from?
Yeah, the idea came from, I'm a big fan of Henry James, the novelist who was writing in the late 1800s. And he wrote this book called Washington Square, which is about a young woman, sort of a spinster. I mean, even though she's like 25 or 23, she's seen as like unmarriageable. And her father resents her for the death of his wife because she died in childbirth. And then this fortune hunter comes along and starts to romance the spinster daughter. And so it becomes sort of a war between the father and the fortune hunter, who's going to end up with the daughter. Is she going to get married to the fortune hunter, or is she going to stay and just take care of her father for the rest of her life? And it's about her kind of growing to realize like what her relationship with her father is. And so that was sort of my inspiration, was using this older book from the 1800s.
So what kind of statement are you making with the play, without, I guess, giving anything away?
I mean, I think I am making the statement that women actually do have options and choices in a way that they didn't have. Like a lot of the relationships actually haven't changed that much, and a lot of the class issues haven't changed that much, but the choices that you can make with those issues have changed.
Gotcha. Now tell us about the next reading that the public can come to.
Yeah, the next reading is June 11th, 12th, and 13th. And it is, we're using the same cast for the most part throughout. So they've gotten to know the script in all these different versions. But we're actually going to have a chance to really get into rehearsing, and they're going to have a chance to ask some questions because we'll be working on it for a couple days before the first reading, and I'll have a chance to do even more rewrites. I'm a big believer in doing in letting the actors affect the script. So we'll actually have some time to really delve into the script before we have the first reading on the 11th. And there may be a couple changes between the 11th and the 12th, or the 12th and 13th. So, you should come see it for 3 nights, and they'll probably will be at least a couple words different on every night.
I have a question I was curious about. As a playwright, how is it different working just if you decide I want to sit down and write a play, and then when you're part of an artist-in-residence program, when you actually have someone that guiding you, or someone that you are quote unquote answering to in a sense, or something like that. How is that different, or is it different at all for you?
Well, I think it's a lot more exciting actually to know that what you're working on is going to be read by actors. And I mean, yes, you have deadlines, and yes, people have weighed in on, I'm a little unclear about what's happening in this moment. But in terms of answering to the theater, they've actually been really just wonderful and generous, and just given me time to work on it. I do find myself answerable to the actors, and trying to make, if they're unclear about something, if something doesn't make sense to an actor, then I want to figure out how to make it make sense to them, and how to rewrite something so that it makes sense to them. So it's actually a really great, engaged process to be working with the theater on something.
And is it something that you started before you got here, or did you start
Yeah, I
fresh?
actually had started it. I'd begun it before I got the residency, because actually if I wouldn't be able to complete it that quickly. I actually have a pretty long process in general. So, but this was definitely in January, which is, kind of a bulk of my time was here in January. I was really piecing a lot of parts together. I'd never created a first draft of it before. I'd started, maybe 5 scenes, and there are, 15 scenes in the play. So I was really kind of the push to have a first draft was definitely done in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, so let's give all the details to the people out there. It's June 11th, 12th, and 13th.
June 11th, 12th, and 13th. June 11th, it's at 7:30. June 12th, it's at 8 o'clock. And June 13th, it's at 7:30 again. And it's in Neely Auditorium at Vanderbilt.
Anything else you'd like to share with our viewers, our YouTube viewers, or whoever else sees this?
No, I'm just really excited to see. It is a comedy. It may not have sounded quite comedic from my description of it, but it is a comedy, so I would love to hear an audience. It's really important with comedies to hear an audience react. So I'm just really interested to have an audience there and have them weigh in.
Visit TennesseeRep.org for more information. And I'm Shawn Whitsell. This is Victoria Stewart. We're signing off. Peace.